We often speak of passion as a fire, a sudden brilliant blaze that illuminates everything, and indeed it often begins that way. A spark, a warmth, a consuming flame. But true intimacy, the kind that nourishes the soul, understands that fire changes. It can become a steady, glowing ember, a deep, abiding heat that may not always roar, but warms more profoundly, more constantly. Sometimes, though, the flame doesn't just change. Sometimes it seems to recede. Not disappear entirely, but pull inward, like a deep breath held too long, or a whisper that becomes so soft we almost miss it. This is not about the grand departure, the dramatic exit. No, this is about something far more subtle, far more intimate, a quiet, internal turning away. Have you ever felt it? Or perhaps sensed it in another? That moment when a woman, outwardly present, perhaps even physically near, begins to drift away. Not from you, but from the vibrant core of herself. It's not a choice she consciously makes, not a decision to abandon. Rather, it's a subtle shift in her inner landscape, a checking out, as it were, from the very current of her own feeling. When a woman breathes deeply, life breathes with her. And when that breath becomes shallow, when the wellspring of her inner life begins to quiet, a different kind of silence settles. It's a silence that isn't peaceful. It's a silence born of unexpressed needs, of unspoken weariness, of a heart that has, for whatever reason, begun to guard itself too fiercely. We often mistake the quieting of overt desire for the death of passion itself. But desire is not merely the body calling, it is the soul singing. And when that song grows faint, it is often because the soul feels unheard, unseen, unheld. For a woman, this internal withdrawal can manifest in 1,000 tiny ways. A touch that feels less responsive, a gaze that holds less light, a laugh that doesn't quite reach her eyes. She might still be there, performing the rituals of daily life, offering comfort, managing the household, fulfilling her roles. But something essential, something vital, has receded. It's as if a part of her has gone on a long journey, leaving only an echo in its place. This is not a judgment, never a judgment. It is an invitation to understanding. For when energy is blocked, we don't lose sex in the superficial sense. We lose vitality. We lose the vibrancy that colors our world, the spring in our step, the spontaneous joy that makes life truly livable. And for a woman whose very essence is often tied to the flow and expression of her emotional current, this blockage can be particularly profound. It's a quiet pain, a dull ache that she may not even articulate to herself. It's the feeling of living life through a pane of glass, seeing, hearing, touching, but with a subtle, almost imperceptible barrier between herself and the fullness of sensation. Her creativity might wane, her laughter might become less frequent, her dreams might seem to fade into the background noise of obligation. She might feel a profound sense of loneliness, even when surrounded by loved ones. And those around her, how do they perceive this invisible detachment? Perhaps the man in her life senses a growing distance he cannot name. He might see her physical presence, but feel an absence of her spirit. Her children might feel a subtle shift in her availability, a lessening of her playful energy. The very air around her might feel a little less vibrant, a little less alive. Because when the flow of life within a woman slows, its subtle ripple extends outwards, touching everyone in her orbit. This is the unwritten story of many lives, the quiet erosion of connection, not through conflict, but through a slow, imperceptible fading of the inner light. It's not about blame, it's about awareness. It's about recognizing the sacredness of her inner world and understanding that sometimes the greatest act of love is to simply notice, to sense the subtle shift in her heart's rhythm. Between a man and a woman flows not just passion, but life itself. And for that life to thrive, for the currents to remain strong and clear, we must learn to read the subtle signs,
the unspoken language of the soul. We must remember that attraction is not sin, it's the universe remembering itself. It's a call to connection, to wholeness, to the recognition of the divine spark in another. When that spark seems to dim, it is not lost. It is simply waiting, waiting for a gentle touch, a listening ear, a space of safety where it can once again glow. For when a woman emotionally checks out, she is often checking out from the very source of her own power, from the wellspring of her intuition, her creativity, her boundless capacity for love and nurturing. It is a moment of profound vulnerability, an unspoken plea for presence and understanding. It's an invitation to lean in, not with demands, but with an open heart. Love. Feel. Breathe. The energy within you has never died. It's been waiting for you to awaken. We speak often of connection, of passion, of the spark that ignites between souls. But what happens when that spark dims? When the current that once flowed so freely seems to recede, to grow quiet? We begin to sense a distance, a chill where there was once warmth. And in that stillness, a profound truth often reveals itself. When energy is blocked, we don't lose sex, we lose vitality. This isn't a mere physical absence, it's a deeper, more pervasive shift. A woman's vitality, her very life force, is intricately woven with her sensual energy. When one is constrained, the other inevitably suffers. But why does this happen? What creates these invisible barriers, these quiet withdrawals? It is rarely a conscious decision. More often, it is a slow, gradual accumulation, a tapestry woven from threads of experience, emotion, and often silence. Imagine, if you will, the gentle flow of a river, clear, vibrant, moving ever forward. Now imagine stones, small at first, then larger, slowly gathering in its path. These stones are the unspoken words, the unexpressed feelings, the quiet disappointments that accumulate over years. Each swallowed hurt, each unaddressed grievance, each sigh held captive in the chest adds another stone. Perhaps it was a comment that stung, never acknowledged, a need that went unseen, never articulated, a boundary crossed, never reclaimed. These aren't dramatic events necessarily. They are the subtle erosions, the quiet neglects that chip away at the foundation of intimacy. A woman carries so much, often silently, the weight of expectations, the burden of tending to others, of nurturing, of holding space.
She gives and she gives and she gives. But what happens when the wellspring from which she draws her own energy is not replenished? When her constant outpouring of self is not met with an equal measure of recognition, appreciation, or loving return? She begins to feel like a vessel that is perpetually emptied, yet rarely refilled. This imbalance breeds a quiet resentment, a subtle form of protest within the soul. She craves to be seen, truly seen, not just for what she does, but for who she is, for her essence, her light, her innate beauty. When this deep yearning for reciprocity, for being cherished, remains unmet, her spirit begins to conserve its precious energy. It retreats inward, creating a protective layer around its most vulnerable and vibrant parts. This isn't anger, not always. It's often a deep, quiet sadness, a turning away, not from malice, but from a profound need for self-preservation. It is a gentle unveiling of what truly holds her back from being fully present in her own body, in her own life, in her own magnificent essence. Love. Feel. Breathe. The energy within you has never died. It's been waiting for you to awaken. My friends, let us speak of a current that flows within us all, a river of life that often goes unnamed or is named too simply. we touch upon a truth that resonates in the quietest chambers of the heart, a truth about desire, not as a fleeting sensation, but as the very pulse of existence. You see, desire is not merely the body calling out for release, for pleasure. No, when we listen closely, when we allow ourselves to feel beyond the surface, we understand that desire is the language through which the soul speaks. It is the deep yearning for connection, for wholeness, for the sacred embrace of life itself. It is a song, ancient and profound, sung not by our skin, but by our very essence. Between a man and a woman, there flows far more than just passion, more than a temporary surge of emotion. Between them, if they allow it, if they are open to receive it, flows life itself. It is a vital torrent, an energetic exchange that nourishes, creates, and sustains. This isn't just about physical union, it's about the merging of spirits, the intertwining of destinies, the sharing of the deepest wellsprings of being. This energy, this potent, sacred force, it never truly dies. It cannot. It is as fundamental as the breath you take, as the earth beneath your feet, as the stars above. But sometimes we lose touch with it, don't we? We learn to fear it, to judge it, to confine it within narrow, rigid boxes. We forget its vastness, its capacity for healing, its inherent holiness. And when this happens, when we allow fear or misunderstanding to take root, sexual energy doesn't die. It simply waits. It waits for us to stop fearing it. It waits for us to remember its true nature, to reclaim its power, to invite it back into our lives with reverence and wonder. Consider the depth of this energy. It is not solely about procreation, though that is one of its most miraculous expressions. No, this is a force that is fundamentally creative, healing, and sacred. Creative. Think of the artist consumed by inspiration, pouring their soul onto a canvas. Think of the innovator tirelessly pursuing a vision, bringing something new into being. This is the same current, transmuted and channeled, manifesting in forms of beauty, insight, and purpose. It is the urge to build, to grow, to manifest the unseen into the seen. Healing. When we allow this energy to flow freely, it can mend what is broken within us. It can bridge the chasm between our physical selves and our spiritual selves, bringing a profound sense of integration and peace. It has the power to soothe old wounds, to dissolve blockages, to awaken a cellular knowing of our own completeness. Sacred. At its core, this energy is divine. It is the spark of life that animates every living thing, a direct connection to the universal source. To touch upon it, to feel its thrumming presence, is to touch upon the sacred within yourself, to recognize your own inherent worth and divinity. And nowhere is this more beautifully evident than in the feminine essence. There is a profound connection between a woman's breath, her life force, and the very flow of existence. When a woman breathes deeply, life breathes with her.
Her breath is not just air moving in and out. It is a conscious invitation for life's current to circulate, to purify, to invigorate every cell of her being. When she allows herself this deep, uninhibited respiration, she becomes a vessel for this sacred energy, drawing it up from the earth, down from the heavens, and circulating it within her own being. Perhaps you felt it, this subtle shift. A woman at times can seem to withdraw, to emotionally check out. It might feel like a fading of desire, an absence. But let us understand this not as a loss, but as a redirection, or even a suppression of this mighty energy. It is not that the current has vanished, It is that it has been held captive, perhaps out of protection, out of pain, or out of a simple unconscious turning away from its intensity. When energy is blocked, we don't lose sex, we lose vitality. We lose the vibrant spark that ignites our days, the creative impulse that fuels our passions, the deep sense of connection that nourishes our relationships. This energy, within a woman, within a man, does not disappear. It merely waits. It waits for awakening, for a new direction, for a conscious invitation to flow once more. It is like a dormant seed, holding within it the blueprint for a magnificent tree, simply needing the right conditions, the warmth of understanding, the moisture of acceptance, the light of awareness to sprout anew. This is the energy that can truly create, beyond simple reproduction. It can inspire art, lead to breakthroughs, forge new paths in our careers and our lives. It can heal old traumas, not by ignoring them, but by infusing them with light and life, transforming pain into wisdom. It can nourish our relationships, making them deeper, richer, more resilient. It can feed our souls, leaving us feeling full, vibrant, and profoundly connected to everything around us. Think of the profound truth in this. Attraction is not sin, it's the universe remembering itself. When we feel drawn to another, when that spark ignites, it is not merely a biological imperative. It is a recognition on a soul level of a shared energy, a mirror reflecting a facet of the divine. It is the universe, in its infinite complexity, acknowledging its own presence, its own beauty, in the gaze of another. To dismiss it, to shame it, is to deny a part of this sacred dance of creation. So how do we invite this energy back? Not with force, not with techniques, but with gentle, loving presence. We begin by listening, by feeling, by breathing. We allow ourselves to become quiet, to tune in to the subtle currents within. We honor the body as a temple, as a sacred vessel for this incredible force. We release the judgments, the fears, the stories that have kept this energy locked away. It is a journey of soft discovery, of tender remembrance. To reclaim this power is to reclaim a part of your deepest self, to reestablish a connection that perhaps you've longed for without quite knowing what it was. It is to find the wellspring of joy, inspiration, and profound peace that has always resided within you. Love, feel, breathe. The energy within you has never died. It's been waiting for you to awaken.
And so we arrive at the threshold, not a destination, but a quiet, deeply personal beginning, a turning point, perhaps, where the journey inward becomes the truest path outward. For when the currents of intimacy seem to fade, when the heart feels a whisper distant, it is not a sign of absence, but often a call for deeper presence.
We speak of attraction, do we not? This primal pull, this resonance between two souls, two bodies. And for too long, perhaps, it has been shrouded in judgment, in whispers of guilt. But I offer you a different truth. Attraction is not sin. It's the universe remembering itself. It is the magnetic hum of existence, calling like to like, spirit to spirit, form to form. A recognition, ancient and pure, that flows long before thought, before word. Consider the act of seeing, truly seeing. A man, as he journeys through life, does not diminish in his inherent power. His strength is not bound by years. He loses it when he stops looking with wonder, when the gaze becomes habitual, when the familiar dims the miraculous, when the sacred in the ordinary is forgotten. It is this wonder, this reverence for the unfolding mystery of another that keeps the wellspring of connection fresh, vibrant, eternally alive. And so we begin. This is not about techniques, not about strategies to recapture something lost. No. This is a far more tender invitation, a deep, gentle return of attention to yourself, to your body, to your breath. It is a homecoming. Imagine for a moment letting go of all expectation, all pressure, simply arriving. In this quiet space where only your own presence matters, can you feel the subtle rhythm of your own being? Can you hear the soft whisper of your own breath as it enters and leaves, a constant, faithful companion? This breath, it is more than just air. It is the very current of life itself. And when a woman breathes deeply, life breathes with her. She is not just inhaling oxygen, she is drawing in the universe, anchoring herself in the vast, generous ocean of existence. This is an invitation to feel again, to breathe fully again, to allow the energy within you, this vital, sacred current, to flow freely again. Not forcing, not striving. Simply allowing. Like a river remembering its path to the sea. Perhaps at first it feels like a tentative trickle, a forgotten muscle awakening, a sleeping nerve stirring. Let it be so. Trust the gentleness of this awakening. For too long, perhaps, the body has been a vessel, a tool, a silent witness to a life lived mostly in the mind. But what if we honored it, truly honored it, as a temple? A sanctuary of sensation, of wisdom, of truth. This journey is about creating a space, an inner space, yes, but also a shared space if you have a partner. A space where a woman can safely explore her feelings, where her voice will be heard, truly heard, not just listened to, but received, and where her body, her beautiful, complex, wise body, is not just desired,
but honored, revered. This requires courage. Oh yes, the courage to feel, even those feelings that have been tucked away, deemed too inconvenient, too intense, too vulnerable. The courage to be vulnerable, not as a weakness, but as a profound strength, to open not only to your partner, but most importantly, to yourself, to the softest parts, the quietest longings, the deepest truths. Remember, desire is not the body calling, it is the soul singing. It is the inherent longing for connection, for union, for the ecstatic dance of life force.
And when this song is muffled, when this current is blocked, we don't lose just passion. When energy is blocked, we don't lose sex, we lose vitality. We lose our spark, our joy, our creative impulse, our very essence. This path, then, is a path to awareness, to a deeper, more profound presence, to being fully here, fully alive, fully yourself, in every breath, in every sensation, in every beat of your heart. Love, feel, breathe. The energy within you has never died. It's been waiting for you to awaken. We've spoken of the quiet retreat, the gentle drawing inward of a woman's spirit when the world feels too loud, too demanding. We've touched upon that subtle shift when her presence, once a vibrant flame, becomes a soft ember, holding its warmth close. But this journey, it does not end in shadows. It is merely a passage, a necessary deep breath, perhaps, before the soul remembers its own vastness. For there comes a moment, doesn't there, a whisper from within, a quiet stirring, when we begin to sense that the true fear was never of being lost. No, perhaps the fear was of being found, of discovering the sheer, untamed power that resides within us, the very current of life itself, waiting to flow. When we cease to be afraid of this inherent strength, this immense capacity for feeling, for creating, for being, that is when life truly begins to surge anew. Think of it, not as a struggle, but as a slow, deliberate unfolding, like a flower turning its face to the sun after a long night. This return, this awakening, is not about forcing anything. It's about remembering the deep, resonant hum of your own inner world, the places where mind and body, spirit and sensation meet and merge into one unbroken whole. This is the essence of inner wholeness, a quiet integration, a sense that every part of you belongs, irrevocably, beautifully, to every other part. And when that wholeness begins to mend, when the scattered fragments of self start to coalesce, something profound shifts. The distance that once felt unbridgeable between your own body and your deepest longings begins to soften. You might notice a subtle warmth returning to your skin, a lightness in your step, a newfound clarity in your gaze. It's not an instant solution, no. Life rarely offers such swift answers to deep questions, but it is a deep, poetic reminder, a sacred understanding that within you, within each of us, lies an inexhaustible wellspring, a source of life, of passion, of unconditional love that can never truly run dry. This period of withdrawal, this quiet turning away, it was never an ending. Consider it instead a profound pause, a deep, restorative breath taken in the quiet chambers of your own being before a new, more conscious inhale. The soul sometimes needs to draw inward, like a seed gathering strength beneath the earth before its inevitable blossoming. It's a time for recalibration, for listening to the ancient rhythm of your own heart when the external world has grown too loud. And when a woman reclaims this inner landscape, when she feels truly alive again, something remarkable happens. This renewed vitality, it isn't just for her, it radiates outward. It touches those around her like a gentle warmth on a cool morning. Her presence becomes a source of quiet inspiration, her laughter a melody, her touch a comfort. She doesn't just give this life force to herself, she shares it with the world around her, enriching every connection, every moment. Remember, attraction is not sin, it's the universe remembering itself. And desire is not merely the body calling, it is the soul singing. When a woman breathes deeply, life breathes with her, and that breath, it carries warmth, a resonance, touching everything around her. When energy is blocked, we don't lose sex, we lose vitality itself. But when we allow that current to flow, when we embrace the sacred pulse within, we rediscover not just intimacy, but the very essence of joy. Between a man and a woman flows not just passion, but life itself. And for a woman to open herself to this flow after a period of quietude is to reclaim a profound truth. It's to understand that her sensuality is not something external, not something to be sought or performed, but an intrinsic aspect of her living, breathing self. It is her wisdom, her intuition, her creative spark. This journey of reconnection, it leaves you with a feeling of profound peace. A deep, abiding warmth settles within your core, and a quiet inner harmony resonates through every fiber of your being. It's the gentle hum of every cell remembering its song, the heart and mind finding their ancient rhythm together. Love, feel, breathe. The energy within you has never died. It's been waiting for you to awaken.